Yeah, I know. Nice. Like, it's not a fire hydrant. So, I think you're right. Yeah, but they're trying to plug in. Oh, really? Yeah.
Does he know the border shut down?
That's
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't pay attention when it was. Speakers were all okay, that's what they want. That's a big difference. Yes, it wasn't. But otherwise, we had enough to keep us busy. Well, that's good. To catch up a little bit. Take care of some other things that you've been needing to do over the last 7 months.
Did you start falling asleep? I think. All right, I'm on it.
Like for like IAEA stuff like that. Yeah. I never have though. Nope. Yeah. I think there are outfits out there that specialize. Yeah. And I've only ever worked on fixed substance. So.
You're not boosting my number.
I already know how it works. I work too. I get a couple. Give it a fun on that.
And you get first about it. That was kind of
She actually buys.
I don't know.
I'm sure they're not cheap. Probably not.
Good evening. It's 7 o'clock, and I'd like to say that in the absence of Andy Preet, I will be the acting chair this evening. So I ask for a small amount of patience from you, but in return, you'll get our utmost attention and respect. I would like to thank you all for being here this evening, and I would like to call the Planning Commission meeting to order. It's Monday, January 27 at 7 p.m. Would you please join us in the pledge? Okay. I'd like to do a roll call vote. Eiley?
Here.
Israel's here. Helmrich?
Here.
Lozano?
Here.
Priest? Rowe? Absent. Welk?
Here.
So we do have a quorum this evening. Please join us in saying the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. There are agendas in the back, I believe, if you didn't get one, if anyone needs one. Next on our agenda is the approval of the agenda. Are there any additions or deletions that we need to note for the agenda? No. Do I hear a motion to approve the agenda?
Second.
The agenda is approved. Thank you. Number 4 on our agenda is the approval of the minutes from December 16, 2019.
I have a couple just typographical things.
Okay. Shall we start on page 1?
Yeah, on page 1.
Yes.
In new business, Brenda Marcy is referred to twice. It's Marcey.
Okay, thank you. And you had one?
I did.
Spelling?
James Mathowski is actually James Malkowski, M-A-L-K-O-W-S-K-I, and that's the last paragraph.
Thank you. Page 2. Page 3.
In item 9, board discussion, towards the end, this Manager Graham shared with the board problems. We need to insert an A between H and M. And that's also on page 4 in the second paragraph. Graham is missing the A.
And then 2 other, page 3 is the spelling again of Kowalski. Is right, is that what you said, Dave?
No,
No.
nope, that was Malkowski.
Okay, so there isn't some spelling. Just remove, the comma after.
After at, between any and the second paragraph under number 8.
Okay. And page 4, John, was what?
Oh, Graham in the
Again.
fifth line to the top, just add the A and Graham.
I think my computer must do that. Okay. Page 5. Page 6. Page 7. 8. 9. 10. 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Page 16.
I'll move that we accept the Planning Commission minutes from December 16th, 2019, as amended this evening.
Second.
Motion made and approved. Any discussion? Okay. Minutes approved, thank you. And it's approved as corrected. Moving on to item 5. This is the time for public comment. And the Planning Commission requests that if you come up for a public comment, please try to limit your time to approximately 3 minutes. We also ask that you sign in at the podium because it's helpful for us to have your name printed so we can have it correct for the minutes so we don't misspell it in the minutes. If you're speaking on behalf of a group, please limit your time to 5 minutes. It's not a question and answer period, but it is an opportunity for you to voice your thoughts with the Planning Commission. You will have the opportunity to speak under item 6, A, B, or C, if you're here for one of those items. But you're also welcome to speak twice. I mean, if you want to speak now and then, that can happen too. So the public comment period is now open. Is there anyone in rows 1, 2, or 3 who would like to say anything? Please come on up.
Hi. My name is Becca Wasso, and I live at 6402 Ototeman Trail, Saugatuck Township. I'm actually not sure if this is the appropriate group or if it's the general council, but I figured I'd come to both and just share my concern, and so that way it gets to the right people. I would like to request that the Saugatuck Township plow or clear the pedestrian path that follows along the west side of Holland Street and continues on Blue Star to 64th and then onwards goes towards Holland. We, meaning my dog, my baby in a stroller, and some days my husband, use this path 5 to 6 days a week. When the path is covered with snow, we have to alter our route, which always includes Holland Street itself for at least a quarter of a mile until we can connect to a side street again safely. This is dangerous for me and my family, as well as being dangerous for the drivers on Holland Street. Some cars will not move over at all to give any extra clearance. I'm not sure if it's out of fear of illegally crossing the center line, or whether drivers are trying to make a point that, hey, pedestrians really shouldn't be on the shoulder of this road. Either way, we too, we would rather be on the path, and we would be if it was available to us. Saugatuck City, I'm guessing, plows up until their jurisdiction where the path ends and that sidewalk starts, because on North Street, because that is always cleared. So I'm imagining that that's just where the break is. So I was just wondering if the township could contract to the same people who plow that. They have, I mean, I know it's actually like a plow, it's not a shovel. It would be an additional, a couple miles to tack on to their route. I feel that we're a progressive city and township, and encouraging and supporting the use of non-motorized paths, I believe, aligns with our community's ideals for the safety of my own family and others in the community, and also just to continue supporting environmental measures to promote the use of pedestrian paths. I strongly urge the township to review this request and consider plowing this path during the winter months to make it available for the community to use. Thank you.
Thank you for bringing that to us.
Can I comment?
I do.
Yeah, I just want to comment on the fact that reference to the city of Saugatuck. They have a Department of Public Works in the city, and the township does not. Doesn't mean we can't look. We'll look into this. I'll instruct our manager to look into it.
Yeah.
We have plowing services that do, like, our parking lot. The roads in the township are plowed by the county. I mean, we're structured differently than the city.
Right.
But
Yeah, and my
share
point was just to make, I can tell, I think that that's where the break is between.
North Street is
yeah.
the division,
Yep.
so yes,
And,
you're absolutely right.
So we get back on as soon as we can.
Okay. Well, thank you for bringing that to our attention.
Is there anyone else in row 3 who would like to come forward? Thank you. Or row 4? Then we will move on from public comments to new business. The first item on our agenda is a public hearing, special approval use and a site plan review application from DC Consulting Services, Aficionado LLC for a medical marijuana Class B grow facility at 6764 Just Barnes Drive for Unit 15 only, parcel number 20-021-026-00. Is there any information that you would like to provide about this first one?
Oh, I just want to share that the applicant has been pre-approved by LARA under the name DC Consulting Services. That was dated April 30th of 2019. They're seeking a Class B grow facility that would enable them to have 1,000 plants. It's in Unit 15 of Just Barnes, the first building that they built. It's an 1,800 square foot facility, and they have a mezzanine in there, so it's going to be 2 floors essentially of growing. The applicant is here today, and they would be able to speak to this application further. But they did submit a complete application to us about a month ago. We had it reviewed by the township engineer. They've also coordinated with the fire district, and there are comments as well in your packet. Generally speaking, it's an existing building, and we've already reviewed the site plan, so the focus of our review is on the operations of the grow facility to ensure that they complied with our standards.
Would you like to address the engineering report too with that, with your comments, or is there?
Well, the memo was in your packet, if you have any questions on that from the township engineer. He just wants to make sure that the applicant's aware of our hookup fees for this request. he would wanna make sure that there's a separation of he wants to make sure that the drain connections, that there's a separate floor drain, from the growing and the processing area, so, that was kind of the main thing that he would like to see changed, in that, to have these separate floor drains.
I understand the applicant is here this evening. Would you like to step up and, talk about this to us?
How are you?
Good, how are you? Did I say it right?
No, it's okay. A lot of people get it wrong on their first try.
How do you?
Aficionado?
Aficionado.
Yeah.
Aficionado. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so we addressed the irrigation, the separation from the, sorry.
Oh, could you please state your name
My name is Paul Holbert, and I
and
represent
address for the record?
625 Bridge Street,
Thanks.
Northwest. That's in Grand Rapids. So to address the point of the separation of the domestic water source and, you know, any activities that will take place inside the facility, we have taken that into consideration, and we are separating that, so there will be no cross-contamination or any possibility thereof. So we're going to isolate our unit from the existing plumbing.
Is there anything else you'd like to speak to about your business?
We have the dispensary, or the provisioning center on Blue Star Highway. We've been, like Lene said, we obtained our license about a year ago, and we're looking to vertically integrate our business so that we can kind of keep quality control and control all aspects of our business, essentially. So we're looking to start in that, in the smaller unit, and we have a partner relationship, more of a business relationship with another outfit that is doing the larger cultivation in the same park that you guys are aware of.
And just to clarify that this is for medical only?
That's correct.
Oh, okay.
I was just gonna ask Lene, is it a Class B license? Is that the same as across the street in the 5 units?
The 5 unit, the Pheno Hunters, I believe they went with the Class C for 1,000 plants, but I can go back through and look at that.
So it is slightly
bigger.
Yeah, so the Class A is the 500. We're applying for a Class B, which is 1,000. Our facility is, once our production is, we have other properties in Michigan that the majority of our production we foresee in the future that will move to. This facility will become our research and development facility. So that's why we have kind of an inflated plant count, for such a small space. We're going to use more than 500, but not 1,000. Essentially, is how that breaks down.
So I think Pheno Hunters is 1,500.
That makes sense.
Didn't the state change with the recreational grow, the different classes?
They have. They're not controlled by the mandate, the medical marijuana mandate, so that they can have more freedoms in how they do their licensing and fee collection. Essentially, is how that breaks down. But that's kind of all I've got, unless you guys have questions.
Yeah. I just want to clarify, the provisioning center you have is in the city of Douglas.
That's correct.
Right. Is your intention, if they opt into adult use, to change that?
Absolutely. You know, they were kind of on the fence, waiting to see what the state was going to do. Since November, they've seen what the momentum that recreational adult use is getting, and so they have informed me that they'll be making movement probably in March, maybe April.
And should that happen, would you be rethinking the growth facility being strictly medical? The one that's in the township?
So we're going to see how the adult use kind of develops,
right,
and what the comfort level is with the township. And certainly, if
that were to come to pass, then we'd consider doing, I call it recreation, sorry, I'm from Colorado.
Adult use.
Adult use, so, different terminology.
I know.
And so that would be the intent, kind of big picture.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
So at this time, I would like to declare that the public hearing is open to the public. The hearing's open to the public, and if you would like to address this, please come to the podium and please state your name, address, and again, your comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Is there anyone in the first or second row that would like to address this or have comments? Row 3 or row 4? Then at this time, I will close the public hearing. We are open for commission discussion at this point. Is there any thoughts or questions you guys have? You guys. Y'all have.
I guess I just want to ask Lene a question. With this one, did you have any prospective restrictions or?
I didn't, not for our conditions, for the conditions of
Rather.
approval, since this is an existing facility and it was recently, reviewed by the planning commission, there was very little in terms of the site itself.
Right.
The waste, they're keeping everything within the building. I did have several conversations with the project architect about parking, just because the Just Barnes development is in its early phases, so the site isn't completely built out to accommodate all the parking that might be needed. But they made sure that they could accommodate the spaces in front of the door. I did encourage them to work with the fire district and Chris Mantles to get their template, the turnaround template for the fire trucks, so that if a car were parked there, that they would have enough access to maneuver. So those were the main questions that I had with their project that were addressed.
How's the grade building progressing?
I haven't been out there in a while.
Just inquiring.
Yeah, I know, I mean, I haven't seen, no, I haven't, there's no,
Is
no
that,
holdups that I'm aware
is
of.
that 236 Culver or something else?
No, I think that's the Pheno Hunter building.
Oh,
Across from the red one.
Across from the red.
right.
And when I read this, I mean, it reads to me almost exactly like when we reviewed the one across,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
across the park.
That one was a little different in that it was, well, that's existing construction too, in a way, because we had already approved that
Right.
site plan.
And it fell down.
Yeah, right, in a way.
Oh, right. That one.
Yeah.
I would make a motion then to approve the special approval use site plan for the DC Consulting Services at 6764 Just Barnes Drive, Unit 15, parcel 20, 021, 026, 00.
With the recommendations 1 through 7
Yes.
in the plan report.
Should I read the recommendations 1 through 7? We have them in front of us. And you have a copy of the recommendations, correct?
I agree with those recommendations.
Okay, and, the fire district recommendations are included in
Correct.
that.
And we've been working closely with Chris.
That's what I gathered from that, so thank you. Any other conditions or additions to the recommendations that, okay, so we have a motion on the floor.
Second.
We call a vote? Okay, so I will do a roll call vote. Welk,
Yes.
Eiley,
Yes.
Israel, yes, Lozano,
Yes.
Elmrich.
Yes.
Priest, do I have to say the two absences?
No.
Okay. Motion passes. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And so moving on to item 6B, it's a site plan review. That's 6358 134th Avenue for a new 3,600 square foot retail, wholesale, sales and service building, parcel number 20-260-008-10. Is the applicant for this parcel here tonight? And you are, okay, would you like to come up to the podium and please state your name and address and sign in? And, you have the floor to talk to us about your project.
My name's Bob Furman. I live at 6325 Fortune Trail in Huntsville. And this building that we're proposing is for our electrical business. We do everything from, manufacturing to sales to all the above for our electrical business. So, that's it.
You'll have retail sales?
Yes.
Any questions from anyone here?
When you say you have retail sales, is that like with projects that you have going on, that customers come in and?
That, or we could sell generators to the public, or something that someone needs, having a wholesale facility basically there to help facilitate whatever everyone needs in town. So,
On the retail side, do you expect to have regular hours, or?
yeah, I would say so. I mean, as this progresses, we're kind of just, the idea, because there's two buildings on the property.
Right.
The front building was, we'll say inherited when we purchased the property. So as to use that building, other than just a small storage facility, we turn that into a retail place to sell generators or things in the area that there aren't anywhere around. So that means we can do some retail in there. So that is the proposed idea for that.
So utilizing the front building?
Correct.
And
Just as a retail.
And then the back
The
building
back would
is?
just be more warehouse and manufacturing.
And again, you're gonna repurpose or utilize the one that's there?
That is correct. That is correct, yes.
The building.
The building, sorry.
Yes, correct.
I thought the plans looked very nice. So how many people will you employ?
Right now, there are 6 of us.
Okay.
So potentially grow to a dozen, probably at most. That's our plan right now.
Okay.
Yes.
Any other questions?
Yeah, is signage addressed in the plans, or?
No, signage, we're missing some details that we added as conditions, and I'm
Correct.
sure you saw in the review. But just, there were some lighting fixtures noted on the plan, but we didn't have a detail to make sure that that fixture was downward facing.
I did bring one copy of it. But I can send that.
Yeah, let's put it all at once.
Yeah, of course.
The landscape plan, so the applicant did identify landscaping that they intend to add to the site. We just want to get a better sense of, how big will those be at the time of planting. We do have some requirements about that.
Right.
We did want to see the buffer yards called out on the site plan, so, just a couple recommendations there that don't change the character or intent of the site plan. And then,
Drainage was another thing that was addressed.
yeah, there was a question about, drainage from the township engineer, or actually, I think it was about the laterals and whether you would be hooking, how you would be hooking up the new building.
Correct. And then I think we said, or found out that we had to have each building separate.
Yeah.
So we'll address those.
Yeah, we need one lateral for each building that goes up to the main And then we did request that the applicant provide updated renderings, of the building. We did get a rendering kind of late in the day as we were preparing the packet, but, which is, it's fuzzy, very difficult to read. I wasn't able to read the dimensions in one night. So you will have to adhere to our, architectural standards. So I think a few modifications may need to be made, but I know you're aware of those. Right.
So has there been agreement on the landscaping issue and the number of trees removed, or is that still in flux?
I guess we are redesigning, I will say, our landscape plan then to accommodate whatever issues that we have, so that's what will be sitting on in a updated site plan.
Or just a new, you can even do just a sheet, that's just the landscape plan if you want, that would show, you know, we have standards about planting, replacing any vegetation that dead or dying fails to establish. You know, again, the caliper of the trees that would be installed, and also just kind of protecting these buffer yards, that are in these, essentially the setbacks, yeah, to show that you won't be clearing property line to property line, yeah.
And then, did we talk about, waste management and trash?
We have on the site plan actual spot for a dumpster.
Okay, and it will be enclosed?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
And what is or are on the adjacent properties? Yeah?
Vacant.
With those vacant? Yeah, trying to picture it, but.
Kind of vacant, I think it's like a,
Oh, the one we approved. Yeah,
Say that a
okay,
little
that's good.
louder.
Right, I knew it was that.
yeah.
Say it louder.
That's the Hammersmith.
Yes.
It's on the same property as the
No, it's on the
same road.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, fits in well.
Yeah,
I
no,
think so.
it's good
I
to
think it's
see
really nice.
positive development there.
I think so, and adding jobs,
Yeah, too.
I like that too. Yeah. Well, thank you for coming, and I wish you well.
Thank you.
Is there any other comments or questions from, you gentlemen? Motion?
Make a motion that we approve, site plan review, or, the site plan review for 6358 134th Avenue for a new 3,600 square foot retail wholesale sales and service building, parcel number 20-260-008-10. As discussed, depending on meeting the township requirements, as we discussed tonight.
The 11 conditions.
The 11
The 11 conditions, right.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion passed. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Item 6C on the agenda is, the Lakeshore washout discussion, and I think Lene is gonna just kind of lead that discussion for us this evening and tell us what's going on.
Our township engineer is here.
Okay,
He could always speak to that.
okay. Well, you can both speak to item 6C, Lakeshore washout.
I am probably the person least, experienced in this, since I have not been at all of the meetings, but I did want to have an opportunity on the planning commission agenda. If you, as planning commissioners, want to share any thoughts you might have about the Lakeshore area and the current, conditions that we're facing with, the sinkhole and, past washouts that we've had. I know that there's been interest, by members of the public for, action, right? And, it's a very tenuous situation. It's always sort of changing. But, you know, I think one of the questions is whether we continue to, do we continue to issue permits, building permits, new construction in this area? Do we, do we look at the land, our land use plan? Do we, are there things that we, or you as planning commissioners have thought about that we might need to look at, from the township's perspective or from my perspective as zoning administrator planner? So we did post this aerial, I think this was in place for some meetings that were held this week, but, so I think that we're investigating various potential solutions. I know that there's been a big collaborative effort with our township engineer, with, the Allegan County Road Commission, the MDEQ, and others, or EGLE, have all been working together, and there've been several meetings and even conference calls with property owners. Certainly, we have many different perspectives with so many people who are impacted, but we just thought if the planning commission had any thoughts or suggestions, we could carry those forward to the township board.
Well, last week in Ganges Township, they tore a house down that was on the verge of falling into the lake. So, that was one of the Curtises. And last week at the meeting, there was no more meeting scheduled, and there was no kind of consensus on anything. So we're kind of still at square one. And I know that the engineers are looking at the Baseline Road, or Coeur d'Alene Road, I guess it is. But there's been no progress, and the sinkhole continues to deteriorate, and the roadway now is getting more serious, the erosion.
Are there actually points of, access that have no access? Are there homes with absolutely no access for emergency vehicles whatsoever?
Yeah.
And how many homes are affected by that now, do we know? 8? Was 9 before they took the one down, right?
No, that was in Ganges. A portion of Lakeshore Drive has been closed to any traffic.
Right at the.
I mean, you could say there's 9, but it's really 8.
So what is the thinking, because, I'm in the office every day and I talk a lot with Griffin, and I know about the meetings that have been held and all that. Is there a school of thought if we did a moratorium on how broad a swath, how many homes that would affect, or?
Yeah, I think that is something that we would want to talk about and decide, which, what would be the limits of that, what type of activities would we allow or disallow for a period of time, what would we be doing? I mean, with any moratorium, you have to be working towards something, and there needs to be an end. So, if it's for the purpose of doing, whatever it might, an emergency route plan or an update to the master plan for, resiliency, provisions, maybe we update something in our zoning ordinance that's related to setbacks, if those might be an issue. Those are things that we could look at. And then the type of, would it be a moratorium on anything? Like, would we still issue a fence permit or a driveway permit or just new construction, or would you allow renovation to happen in current structures, right? So several things we want to look at.
You're going to cause a storm.
Yeah, I think that would be.
You're going to have serious problems if you cut off all building permits.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm not proposing
No, I
any
know.
of this. We're just throwing things out there that other places have done to see.
now what's Allegan County say?
Great question.
Well, the reason I ask that is, I've been to the sinkhole, and
I know what caused it. It's the drain
Drain.
underneath the road, it came apart.
Right.
And not that many years ago, the same thing happened and a person died and got washed out into the lake. The exact same thing, not a half a mile from there. So I think those drains, concrete drains, need to be upgraded or at least repaired.
Yeah, but who's gonna pay for it? That's the key.
Well,
Well, who put them in?
No, because the Drain Commission attended that meeting at the high school. I mean, the county was there, 8 Army Corps of Engineers. It was an informative meeting, and I learned a lot. You probably already know this. I think there's 8 drains on Lakeshore Drive that the county administers and our tax dollars pay for. And you're right, that one disconnected. I'm not sure they said if they were planning to repair it right away. That's a good question. I mean, first of all, I want to applaud you. I think it's great to bring this up now and being so proactive, but I also think we need to be cautious and see where are we going to be in May after the winter. And on the other hand, Eagle, the state, the former DEQ, they have just changed rules so that if someone wants to move their home back, they're going to approve those permits sooner. It's expensive, but it is something that a homeowner would need to do. So I don't know how moratorium would affect the state mandate.
Yeah, right.
I think we need to be aware of that. And I had another point, but I forgot what it was. It'll come back to me. But, oh, no, you brought up, just so the people that are here and everyone on the Planning Commission knows, the issue of an emergency access road has been really high on everyone's radar. And a couple weeks ago, for 24 hours, there was an agreement to put a road in behind the affected homes, and it kind of fell apart. First of all, the homeowners association came back and wanted it to be gated and locked, which seemed odd for an emergency road to me. And so, well, if the fire department gets there and forgets the code, who do they call? Who's administrating this road? And then I believe, two of the homeowners then said, well, you can't go through my property. I mean, they have to all be in agreement before something happens. But it's very much top of our mind, still being discussed.
Well, I'm very grateful that you brought it up because it is a lot more for us to think about than just, the roads are falling, what are we going to do? But I would suggest too that Huizinga, I think you mentioned Bill Huizinga last meeting, but he has a podcast. I guess he was here last week, and apparently he has a podcast out on, I heard it on Wood TV. I didn't hear the podcast, but I was thinking that I would come in tonight and listen to it if I had time, but we didn't get there. It's supposedly an hour long, and it's about the roads to there, Lakeshore. So, I mean, it might be worth listening to what the state is looking at and doing too, and thinking that could be helpful.
I'll try to search for that. If I can find a link, I'll email it to the planning commission.
But the collaborative meeting that was held here last week,
Yes.
I mean, there were representatives from our Congressman Upton's office,
Yes.
the county. I mean,
So maybe that's
the
all part of
collaboration's
the
been good. It's
podcast,
just, it's a
yeah.
tough, there's no solution because we're dealing with Mother Nature.
fix some drains.
And money.
Well, and money.
I haven't been in there, to see the washout in years and years. Is it accessible? I mean, if you were to go to inspect,
You mean the new sinkhole?
Right.
Oh, yeah, but they're urging people to
Drive
stop.
right up to it.
Apparently it's become kind of a tourist attraction, and they are saying, please, don't try not to go unless you risk. Because it's more wear on the road.
Sure.
I mean,
Well,
I
it's
heard
a
that
one-lane
there was a
road.
proposal,
Get to it now.
I think the last time I went down there, I saw there was barricades basically.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Closed.
it's closed.
So we just turned around there.
Yeah.
And it's there and it's growing. There was a proposal from, I think it came out of the homeowners association to buy a temporary bridge. But again, that bridge would be on the road and adding a lot of excessive weight.
Yeah.
And again, even if that was a great idea, solution, who's paying for that? roads are the purview of the county. We fund it through our road fund, but roads are managed and repaired by Allegheny County Road Commission. And they're very involved in these collaborative meetings, which is good, because there's a lot of parts here.
Yeah.
And they have the whole county,
Yeah, thank you,
which
John.
is
Yes.
terrible shoreline erosion.
Yes.
So it's not,
It's not just
Just
us,
us.
but that doesn't minimize its impact, because most of the Lakeshore Drive in this area is in the township.
right, you go down to Casco, you go down, I mean, it's just, the whole thing is, yes.
Yeah.
High water, push down, we all forget.
Any other comments on the washout?
I'll keep you posted as we learn more.
No, we just have to remain diligent.
Is there any action expected from us this evening?
No action, no.
Okay.
Are you looking for public comment?
That is,
That's
coming
later.
up.
It's
No, I
coming.
mean on this topic, you said we could speak on this topic early on.
Oh, well, in a hearing.
In just a minute, we will, is there any other old business this evening? Then it is open for public comment. Yes, sir, you may speak right now.
Okay.
Okay. Just as a point of order. Please
all right.
state your name and
Dan Keller, 2809 Lakeshore Drive. I'm one of the stranded residents on Lakeshore. The accurate number is 11 houses are currently stranded by the washout, not 8. There's also issues north of the washout as well as south of the washout. I don't know what your role is exactly, but to the extent that you could help in laying out a viable route that will relocate the road similar to what was proposed in 1988, and nothing happened, and now we're in the same situation until 2020, and nothing's been done for the last 35 years. We're stranded. I'm sick of walking in my car. It's a quarter of a mile each way in the snow. I snowblow the road to give myself access. And I know there's people north of the washout that I've been training knows what they're equally concerned because it's a serious issue just south of Wiley Road on Lakeshore. We need to have a new road located well east of our homes, exactly like was proposed in 1988. That is really, really important. It's becoming critical. The sinkhole is caused by the county's drainage, no question about it. The sinkhole is getting larger. It's dangerous. It should be filled. There should be a way to go over it or around it. The bridge is not a bad idea, in my opinion. It's a good idea. The fire department supports the bridge idea. It's a flat bridge. Just think of military bridges that they use to access property. We need to have access to a property. We're landlocked, and that's just not acceptable. And these meetings, everybody talks and everybody prepares reports and sends them to wherever they send them to, and they all pat themselves on the back that they're all working collaboratively together. None of it is, nothing's happening, and we're getting really tired of it. We need help. And there are homeowners stranded at this point. And as spring and summer come, there's going to be bigger and bigger problems with that. And as the lake washes out north of the washout, you're going to have a disaster on your hands. And everybody just sits around talking and saying, yeah, we really feel bad for you. I wish something would happen, and I would like to have. There is viable routes that have been laid out, and Dana's talking to some people to try to make that happen. I would just encourage you to do whatever you can to make that move faster with a sense of urgency as opposed to, gosh, it's really sad for you guys, and we hope it all gets fixed somehow, but we don't know how. Thank you.
Do you have any, thoughts about how we could help move that along faster?
I don't know your role exactly, but if you could help Dana with identification of a route, there is a route along the quarter-mile line that runs behind all of our properties. That quarter-mile line runs clear north all the way to Wiley Road. There's, I think, 2 major property owners that would have to be agreeable to an easement to enable it to run north. There's also the possibility that was developed in 2008 to run to the east off of that and go out to Blue Star Highway, just south of the storage sheds and the hardware store. That's another possible way to get out. We don't need we don't need a road that connects Lakeshore Drive all the way north or south. One way is just fine. We've had one way for 35 years. But one way is better than no way. And to the extent that you guys could help with laying out the route, creating the right, encouraging citizens or owners to create easements, whatever it is you could help with, I don't know. But we need help from somewhere. And Dana might be able to explain more about the help that maybe you guys could provide. I don't know. but it's a real issue, and anything the planning commission can do to help us would be really appreciated.
Thank you.
I'll comment. Dana Bird, I'm at 6871, Wiley Township resident. I came to just kind of listen to the meetings to hear what the conversation would be. So I don't want to get into a lot of detail, but I suggest if you want to get engaged on the issue more, that you probably start with Griffin in the office. I mean, he's been in contact with me daily. I'm currently working with Allegan County Road Commission on trying to have discussions on road right-of-way acquisition to find a viable route for replacement roads. So, I guess that's all I would say at this point, is if you want to get more engaged with it, maybe start with Griffin in the office.
Hey, Dana, has there been any talk of eminent domain? I know it's a terrible subject.
Yeah, I don't know that anyone is talking about that, because we haven't even had an initial conversation with the property owners surrounding the area to find out if, you know, there's voluntary right-of-way available. So, I mean, I don't think anybody wants to jump to that conclusion.
I agree, but
There's been discussion, but also the reality with eminent domain is it's extremely, extremely expensive.
oh, absolutely. Yeah.
You know, it's market value
And it's
plus.
not the township, it's the county
Yeah,
or the state.
so there'd be a millage countywide or township-wise.
Well, if we can get the state to do it, it's much better.
Or if you can get people to agree to do it, it's much better.
And with the, so when you talk about this alternative road plan that was developed years ago, is that the same as the emergency road that's been discussed? Is it a different plan?
I think it's different. I mean, there's a lot of history with this issue that you can dig into. There was a study done in the 80s that laid out a lot of routes for road replacement, and then in '09 there was a lot of talk about an emergency route.
Right.
You know, what we're looking at now is a permanent replacement route, and where could that road right-of-way come from?
No, and that's great. I know how hard you're working on this.
There's one area that's closed, but there's a 2-mile stretch that is erosion.
But there are property rights involved too, and that's been an issue. It's not, certainly not been ignored. I mean,
No.
and thank you, but I would say the more you can share with us and the board and staff a potential plan, then we're all smarter for that. But
Sure. Yeah, I think as far as this evening goes, I would refer you back to Griffin.
what do you mean by that? I'm sorry. He's not planning a road.
No, but he's aware of the work that's been done.
Oh, I know.
And he could,
Well, I am too, and Griffin reports to the board, so I'm not quite sure what's being asked here, but.
Well, I guess if you want to get a lot more background on the whole discussions to date and everything, he could provide that.
Okay, thank you.
Dana, is that correct? Your name is Dana?
Dana's our township engineer.
Okay, that was what I was just.
And he's on the Parks Commission. He's a great guy. He does a lot.
I just needed that clarity, thank you.
Sure.
For those that don't know.
Dana reviews all the site plans
Yeah.
and prepares all the, finding house reports as well.
Okay.
Yeah. And we did meet, was it 2 Tuesdays ago to discuss, different roles that each of us can play in this, finding a solution.
But we haven't come up with an action plan yet, is what.
Well, I'm working right now with the Allegan County Road Commission on, the number one priority was restoring immediate access
Okay.
to the affected properties, and we looked at many options regarding that, which all involve permission from private property owners, which we haven't been able to obtain to date.
Yeah.
And so then we're moving on to the larger discussion of what surrounding properties could provide an alternate road route from there.
Okay.
That's what we're currently doing.
Perfect. I appreciate the clarity in case someone is writing something about it. We have the clarity in the paper.
Cool.
Too. And in print. Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Please state your name and write it on our sheet for us.
That's
with
okay.
Ed. Oh, you can,
No
be as
rush.
slow as you want.
Okay. I'm Julie Rosso, and I live, at 2963 Lakeshore Drive, which is between it's exactly halfway between Wiley and the washout. And I just want to bring to your attention, echo Dan, that, there are 4 points along that stretch that are very, very fragile and very vulnerable. One being right at the end of Wiley Road, one being, farther towards me, towards the south, towards the washout. Another one would be after me, between my house and the washout, and the fourth one being to the north of Wiley Road. And there are videos that are drone videos that have just been viewed. I don't know, have you seen them?
I've seen them, yeah.
And I don't think they've been widely distributed. They were done by a neighbor of mine on January 14th. And he pretty much did that whole stretch. And it's very serious. If there's anything that can be done proactively before the road crashes in and we have everyone stranded, I don't know what we do, but it's not a good thing at all. There are sort of caves down at the shoreline that have been eroded, and I think, I have to look at it again. I mean, I don't know, but I think that each one of the very fragile places has a drain that's been put in from the interceptor drain behind our houses. You can see it, right at Wiley Road, you can see them. So the drains have caused this problem. That's not the only cause of the problem, certainly, but that's where the extreme areas of fragility are. So if I sound scared, I am. Okay? Thank you. I don't know, I mean, action is the word. There has to be something done proactively. I said to someone today, could they take big boulders and dump them over at the end of Wiley Road so that it doesn't crash in, you know? I don't know what the answer is. I'm not an engineer, Dina, but help. I mean, we're in serious trouble.
Desperate help.
Desperate help, and it's too bad that we were all under one assumption for 33 years of the county would take care of it. It's too bad that we haven't been educated in how to do whatever we can as property owners for erosion, but it's got to be a collective enterprise, because if one person puts in rocks, the guy next to him gets eroded. Or one person puts in a seawall, next door it gets eroded. So, a little upset. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oh, I put my name.
Oh, thank you.
And I have the smallest piece of property on it. I'm going to be landlocked like crazy.
Is there anyone else that would like to?
My name is Jane Dreyer. I'm at 2618 Lakeshore Drive. It seems like I know you are the Saugatuck Township, but it seems like the Allegan County Road Drain Commissioner, it's a woman, right?
Yes.
What in the heck has she been doing? I don't know if you know this, but we have a little park owned by the township called Sundowner Park.
Oh, yeah.
It's falling apart. The wall that they put up, I don't know how many years ago, is very compromised, and it's the next door neighbor called today about it. So,
Where is this?
It's on Lakeshore Drive.
126.
It's not far from the city.
It's 126th.
It's our smallest park, but
Okay.
it's there right on the lakeshore.
and there's a drain there that is clogged up, and so now look what happened. So I want to know who this drain commissioner person is, because I never see anybody go up and down our street cleaning out the drains. My husband and I make sure that the drain across the street from us is cleaned out. But then the corner of 126 that's connected to the Sundowner Park, nobody does anything with